Leadership, 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 success, success, success. Hi, my name is Jonathan Medina. I'm America's #1 youth motivator. I'm your teacher, I'm your coach, I'm your friend, and I'm your teammate. And today we have an amazing guest. Our guest today is Andrew Fox. Just to let you all know a little about him, he is a part of FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America. He's the National Eastern Region Vice President. He's the New York State President. He competes at the national level. He's been a finalist, and he's also been a 7-year active member. Please help me welcome our guest, Andrew Fox. Andrew, hi, welcome.
How are you?
Excellent. Well, Andrew, I just told everyone about all of your amazing accomplishments. I told them how you are an excellent leader, and you're going to give us some amazing tips today. But can you tell us, how did you first get started?
Yeah, so I first joined the organization Future Business Leaders of America in 6th grade of my middle school. And so we did a Music Boosters fundraiser for our regular school because I always like to promote and help the music club as much as I can. I loved choir and drama club, all of that. So, and another benefit of it was that I always wanted to raise the most money because then you got the best prizes. So it was like a 2-for-1. And so I went to go pick up everything I had sold. And one of the FBLA members was actually distributing everything. And they said, you need to join FBLA. We need your fundraising skills. So I went to the first meeting not knowing what all to expect. I was a scared little 6th grader, could barely speak at all. And I went in and was hooked on the organization. As soon as I walked in, I loved it. And I wanted to dive right in and learn more about the organization. So I'm 7 years strong, and I started out very quiet, but now I can totally public speak, give presentations, all that. So I've loved every minute of my time in the organization.
Awesome. I absolutely love that. I love hearing how you start off early and you've gathered skills where you now have confidence. You can go and be on stage. You can do presentations, all because you made the choice to be involved in student leadership. Were you, you mentioned that you were nervous a little bit. Can you talk about, what it was like to go to that very first meeting? I know you were already raising money, but, going to that first meeting where you're joining the club, what was that like for you?
Absolutely. So our middle school chapter and our high school chapter were combined, but there weren't very many middle schoolers. I only knew one other friend that was in the organization. So walking in was super scary. But I can remember walking from the middle school side to the high school side within our high school. And I just remember those footsteps and walking in, but my advisor was there. She greeted me with open arms, thanked me for even coming to the meeting. And as soon as I heard her voice and just her calmingness, and she got rid of all those butterflies that were in my stomach right away. So the chaperones, the advisors, the mentors, they are always there for you. So that really helped me out.
Yeah, and I think that's that over and over as I meet more and more student leaders. For me, I was nervous to join groups or to join clubs. I didn't join until I was in 7th grade, even though in 6th grade, I saw the signs. I wanted to be a part of it, but I was just too afraid to join in. So I'm glad that you joined in. And now you can say you have 7 entire years of being involved in student leadership. That means 7 years of becoming a better student leader, 7 years of gaining skills, 7 years of going to competition, and to where now you get to go and represent the organization. Now, you said you've raised a lot of funds. How have you all decided to spend some of the funds? Does that mean that you're taking a lot of kids to conference? Or are you donating some of that money to some special causes? Can you tell us a little bit about what it's like when you are able to raise a good amount of funds?
Absolutely. So within FBLA and my high school chapter, we really focus on two things when it comes to raising funds. The first being to afford conferences. The state conference is our main priority, that's where most of our focus and drive really goes towards. And then the second is towards our state charity, which changes every year. Our main fundraiser that we did was for the Feeding America. We did a huge fundraiser, can drive, all of that fun stuff for the organization. This year, our state charity is crisis text line. And so we've been promoting that on social media, showing these resources to students across our high school saying, this year is obviously difficult for so many of us, but if you ever need anything, reach out to us. We can hook you up with, a crisis text line mentor, and you can always text them, call them, whatever you need. So that's where our two main focuses are when it comes to fundraiser, definitely state conferences and our state charities as well.
Yeah, awesome. I love that. I was heavily involved in fundraising at my university. I was one of the top fundraisers every single year to raise funds for our scholarship funds and all kinds of stuff that we did at the university level. But can you tell us about, if you were to give someone a tip on how to raise funds, what would be one of the tips you'd give someone on, is it making goals? Is it having big numbers, painting a big vision? What would be some of the tips that you'd give someone, Andrew?
I think the best thing you can do when it comes to fundraising is really just promote it on all different platforms between your school, your community, post those flyers at your grocery stores, your local church, the bank, and across your high school as well. Reach out to teachers, do email blasts, text your friends, your parents, your relatives that are even far away. And if they're coming to visit on Christmas, they can pick it up there. It really comes from all over. Just do the most that you can, keep promoting and spreading the word because you never know. You might think, oh, this isn't going to work. And then you try it and it ends up working. So just try as much as you can and hope for the best.
Yeah, and I think so often people are afraid to go and ask someone. But I found I had one of my friends who I really wanted to go to this one conference, and I ended up not going because I was fearful of asking for people to donate to me doing it. And one of my friends was like, "My parents loved you; they would have definitely helped you out." And then later, when I was helping a lot of other student leaders, I saw as so many parents actually would sponsor not just their child and their friends, but a multiple, like tens of kids to go to conferences and things like that. So I think, you guys are doing such amazing work with FBLA. I'm sure that other parents would want to sponsor maybe another kid, or maybe a grandma wants to send their grandchild or things like that. But it's just having that courage sometimes to ask. So I applaud you for having the courage ever since you were in sixth grade doing stuff like that. So that's awesome.
Absolutely. It definitely works.
Now, if you were to take it away, I kind of focused it on fundraising, but in general, what would be a tip that you would give to a student leader who was just starting out?
A tip that I would give for all of you listening out there is do not wait. I started getting involved in this organization in middle school, but I started going really my freshman year. Don't wait until your sophomore and junior year. Get going, look at the national programs that are out there, community service, the fundraisers, the networking opportunities. Get a social media page dedicated to your organization if they're out there. I think just starting at a young age will it will further your ability to grasp onto these skills and really enhance all that you're going to take away from being involved in that student organization.
Yeah, and I definitely think there's so much that applies to not just your organization, but I think it helps you in school, it helps you in friendships, it helps you in relationships with your family. Could you tell us about some of the benefits of the things that you've learned in student leadership that have also applied to other parts of life?
Absolutely. So one huge thing that everyone would ever tell you about me is that I could not public speak. I could not do it in middle school. I could not give a presentation. I used note cards. My head was always in the note cards. I did not even want to look at my peers. Um, but after joining student leadership, I was able to participate in workshops. I was able to talk with other student leaders, and just that experience in all of it, it really brought back this amazing opportunity for me to utilize throughout my personal life, my high school career. I'm now able to easily give presentations. I don't need to rehearse, even though I still recommend you rehearsing. But I don't need note cards, and I can look at everyone directly across the room, go back, and it is so useful. But another thing that I would say is just being able to meet people from across the country. If you have the opportunity to go to these national and state conferences as well, you get to meet people from all over. And these are some of my best friends that I've met, not only working with them on state councils and state officer teams, but just friendships in general. If they're from, I live in upstate New York, but I've met people from Long Island, I've met people from California, I've met people all over. So I think that is another huge advantage that you can utilize within student leadership to take back to your personal life.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. I'm a part of this one student leadership organization. We've been meeting for 13 years, even after we've are no longer like we're all out of college now. But we had been meeting ever since we were in college, and now 13 years later, we are still meeting. This year was digital, but every year we get together and meet, even though we all live at all different parts of the country. But we always make sure. So it's become some of my best friends, and it's all back to student leadership organization in college. And then I also would say I have friends from the camps that I did in high school, where if I'm speaking at an event in California, I go and stay at their house or I'm in their guest rooms, just so I can still have those friendships, those relationships. I think they'll last you a lifetime if you kind of maintain them. So I'm glad that you have great friends from all across the country. That's super awesome. Except my first memory of upstate New York is I played a football game at Colgate. Are you fairly close to
Oh,
Colgate?
yes, I am like an hour from Colgate, I would say. I definitely know the area. That's awesome.
And I remember it snowing, it was windy, and one of my teammates was terrible and stole my cold gear. So I did not have like the warm type of clothes. It was a terrible experience. And Colgate completely demolished us. So that wasn't fun either. But, anyways, um, now I wanted to ask, how has a coach, a mentor helped you in your development as a student leader?
Yeah, for sure. So I ran for state office my freshman year. I did not know what to expect. I was just getting involved with the organization, but this step really allowed me to immerse myself with all that the organization truly had to offer. And my first state officer advisor, who is still my advisor on the state level today, she helped me with the organization. She mentored me to really dive into the organization even further than I already had and learn all of these different regulations and different, what went on truly within the organization. And if it weren't for her, I would not be where I am today. And so, really, the mentors and coaches and advisors are there for you. They would not have signed up for the job if they didn't want to help the students within the organization and the leadership positions. So, if you have an advisor out there, always thank them for the work that they do. I could not be more thankful for mine. And, just really enjoy your time within the organization with your mentors.
Yeah, and I would say, especially if they're maybe at a public school or maybe even in private schools, um, a lot of times maybe they weren't even know they might not have known that they were going to be involved with it, and all of a sudden, they a principal says, "Hey, this year you're going to be in charge of whatever club and organization." So sometimes it's something that they weren't even anticipating, and now they're trying to, maybe they have someone like Andrew who's pushing them. We need to do fundraisers, and that might mean extra nights, that might mean weekends, so I definitely agree that you should definitely thank your sponsors for playing a big part in your development. Um, Now, specifically, you talked about fundraising earlier. One of my things that I always talk about when I'm working with student leaders is measuring success. And it's even one of the chapters in my book for student leadership. What are some things, like if you were to start the year, it's about to be time when we're filming this, it's right before New Year's. So people start making goals, and I always try to think, what are some specific measurements that you try to have to rank your student leadership, to see your progress? I know you talked a lot about being a public speaker. What are some things that you specifically try to measure to make sure you're getting better as a leader?
I think a few things that I always want to work on is my ability to communicate, my ability to listen to all of the members out there. When you're serving as a leader, you never should consider yourself higher than others. You are here to further the organization and really to help as many people as you can. So something that I always try to do is really communicate and reach out to as many members and chapter advisors as I possibly can, hear from them, hear what they need and how I can help them. So that's really where my goals align for the incoming 2021 year, especially because this year has been so difficult when it comes to communication and in-person events. So I think that this is a huge part when it comes to being successful within any student leadership organization and really trying to find those ways where you can further promote the organization and get more involvement as well. So definitely get more involved and make those goals, because goals are a huge way to measure success, like as you had mentioned, and set the bar high. You never know what you're going to be able to accomplish, and if you don't reach that bar, look at what you have accomplished and be proud of that for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, setting the goal high. I do this one thing where I kind of raise students up in the air, and I always talk about raising the bar on what your expectations are as a leader. Um, Now, can you tell us what would be a mistake that you would definitely tell other leaders that you must avoid?
Like I said previously, I think just talking over others, thinking that your position means entitlement. You should be proud of the work that you put in to get that position, but at the end of the day, you are always there to help others, because we're all people, we're all in this together, and we're all here to better ourselves and help our future careers. So I think that if you do have a semi high leadership position, help those above you and help those below you and help yourself as well. Take all of that time that you have within that student leadership and take advantage of it and really put your best foot forward when it comes to everything you do.
Now, you had an awesome year. You won, I'm guessing, a campaign. You're probably campaigning. You worked for it. You probably maybe even thought about it since you first joined in sixth grade. What was it like for you when you were recognized? Well, how did that moment feel for you? Were your parents super proud? Family members, friends, your advisor? Tell me what that moment was like when you found out that you had won that role that you got to play.
Yeah, so winning the National Eastern Region Vice President was a huge, huge, huge success for me. I walked in my seventh grade year. I went to a state conference in New York State, and I had seen the state officers up there. And so I set my bar at New York State President. I said, one day I'm going to do that. So this past March, we found out our state conference was going to be canceled, and my campaign had to turn to virtual. So that was really, really tough on me because I had dreamt of that since seventh grade. Um, but moving forward in May of 2020, I won that position. So that was just a huge beacon of light. I said all of the work that I have done these past 5 or 6 years has paid off. And now I get to really help New York State FBLA in the way that I want to and have envisioned. But then in June, I was compiling my campaign for National Eastern Region Vice President. And we had at the end of June a 8-hour campaign day on social media. There were guidelines that we had to follow. We compiled our websites, we compiled our speeches, and then it came down to social media. And at the end of the day, my phone was at 2%. I was drained mentally from looking at the phone all day. And I sat down with my family and I said, I am proud of the work that I've done. In whatever way it goes, I'm okay with it. So 2 days go by and we're ready for campaign day. I get home from work and I sit down with my family and we're watching the general session. And of course, results are at the end of it. So we have to wait an hour. But my name finally comes by with the position and my head falls to the ground and I just start crying. My family members were like, wait, aren't you happy? They were tears of joy. I I was a loss for words. I did not know what to say. I was so thankful for all of the members and the chapters throughout the Eastern region that had believed in me, believed in my campaign. And it was just a moment of gratitude and a moment of, I did this and where are we going next, Eastern region, because we're unstoppable.
Yeah, I absolutely love that, and I love that it was such an emotional moment where you were brought to tears of joy because such a cool moment. Now I'm going to take away that moment and ask you, not counting that moment where you're crying from joy, what is another moment that has been your favorite moment while being in student leadership organizations?
I would have to say my time at the national conference at San Antonio, Texas, summer of 2019. We had our national conference there. There was 13,000 people from across the organization there. We also have international chapters too. So we had Puerto Rico, China, Austria, Hungary was there. So being able to meet these people from across the world was just an absolute eye-opening experience. I got to travel back to Texas. I was in San Antonio when I was about 9 years old. So going back when I was 16, it was just another memory in my book. And so it was awesome. And just being able to travel the world, meet new people, take advantage of all the resources that the organization had to offer within that week conference. It was, I'd have to say that was my favorite moment in the organization.
Well, and any moment I'm sure where you get to leave New York and come to Texas has to be a special moment. I'm just teasing, because I'm from Texas, of course, so I absolutely love San Antonio. It's one of my favorite places, and so I'm glad you got to enjoy it and be a part of that huge conference again with people coming from all over the world. So I think one of the things when you go to the national conference, you're not just exposed to everyone across the country, but in FBLA, you all do have chapters that are from other countries. So that's one of the special things about FBLA, for sure. Now, um, how can people get in contact with you? Maybe they want to they see this and they want to know more about FBLA, or maybe they want to join your mission of helping the Eastern region take it to a whole new level. How can they best contact you? Is it your Instagram and email? What would be the best way?
I would say the best way to contact me is through my Instagram. It is at drew.fox and it has two X's at the end of it. That is the best way to contact me. If you want to support the Eastern region and go give us a follow or like, feel free to follow us at Eastern Region FBLA on Instagram. I think these are the best ways to really meet new people and contact us with any questions that you have. Social media is becoming a huge, huge, huge platform, especially during these times. And again, you get to network with people. Never feel afraid to just shoot us a DM, shoot anyone within the organization a DM. Everyone is so friendly, even across other student organizations as well. I've met people in other student leaderships and they're amazing. So never be afraid to reach out to anyone on social media if you need more information, would like to meet a new friend or anything like that.
Yeah, and now y'all, everyone out there, y'all have got to meeting. You've got to met Andrew. So obviously you see that he's such a helpful person. So he would love, I'm sure, to connect with all of you guys and go follow him. Increase the influence that he has because he's out there putting awesome things out on social media as well as all the stuff that the Eastern region's doing. I'm sure. Now, what are some of the things that you want to do in the future? What is future aspirations for you? What do you want to go to college or what kind of career are you going to have? Can you tell us about your future?
Yeah, right now my career and college plans are to attend a school within the business management field or a hotel administration major. My top school right now is the Cornell Hotel Administration School, so we are hoping to get in there. I find out late March, so unfortunately I do have a long waiting time, but it is my top school right now, and it has been my dream school for a long time. So that's where my college and career plans lie right now.
Awesome. Have you already? Do they do an interview process with Cornell? Is it? Did you get to do that?
Yeah, after you apply. So right now they were focusing on early decision applicants. And so now that's all over with. And so now they're taking a holiday break. But after the new year, hopefully I'll be able to set up an interview with an alumni or current student as well.
Awesome. I have a bunch of friends. I just did some interviews where tomorrow I'm interviewing a gentleman who does the Yale interviews. So I'll send you some of the kind of secret tips. I do the interviews for Georgetown, and I interviewed another friend that does the interviews for Georgetown. So I'm sure there's some overlap on the way we all do our interviews. So I'll send you some of those secret tips on that. But I'm sure you're already awesome because you've been awesome. You've been in student leadership for 7 years. Now, what is your favorite quote and how have you applied it to student leadership?
So my favorite quote is procrastination is the thief of time. This is from Edward Young. I just think you should take advantage of every single minute and every single year you have within a student leadership organization, as well as your high school experience as well. This quote has meant so much to me. I wake up every morning at 4:45 in the morning, get that workout in, and then start my day at 6:30, whether it be through emails or any high school class that I'm in, college course, anything like that. Take advantage of every moment because you don't want to be too late for something. And that was a thing with me. I never wanted to miss a deadline, and I have missed a few deadlines in my life, and it kills me because I never want to be seen as someone who is late. Because a favorite quote of mine that is also by my state officer advisor is that early is on time is late, and late is unacceptable. And this is huge when it comes to any major or field that you pursue in your future. So these two quotes, feel free to take something from them, maybe post them on a vision board or a bulletin board or anything like that, because they are two quotes that I really, truly run my life by.
Awesome. I absolutely love that. And I hope that you take those quotes with you the rest of your life. Everyone out there, and it's something that has, if I were to say some of the mistakes that I've made in the past, procrastination is definitely one of the huge mistakes that I've made in the past on accomplishing some of my goals. And so you talk about your career and college aspirations. I would say coming out of high school, my number one school that I wanted to go to was UPenn. Um, and they had an earlier deadline at the time. I think they still do, but at the time they for sure had an earlier deadline than the other schools. And so I had kind of a certain date to fill out all my applications, and I procrastinated, so I didn't get it in time for UPenn. So my number one school I didn't even apply to because I procrastinated. And so it's one of the things that I always think is like my big moment of big mistake for me. Um, but we also played them in football, and they killed us also. Cornell as well. So we were terrible in college, so no big deal. Now, this is a moment where I kind of give you the floor, Andrew. So you're going to practice some of those public speaking skills that you've learned from all the years. I'm going to put myself on the side and kind of spotlight you, and then I'm going to mute myself. But this is a moment where you get to challenge the audience. So a lot of times I cut this part out. So if you would just kind of reintroduce yourself a little bit, let them know who you are. because I usually cut this and use it by itself as part of another project that I do. So
Perfect.
let me put you on pin, and I'm gonna mute myself.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew Fox, and I'm a part of the organization Future Business Leaders of America. This is my 7th year within the organization, and I currently serve as the National Eastern Region Vice President. Today, I have been invited to speak with all of you listening today about a few things that I wanted to really touch on. So, the main topic of my event, or I would say presentation here today, is advice for running for any type of office within a student leadership. My first, and I know this might sound cheesy, tip is be authentic and be yourself. When you're speaking to those voters and those members that are listening to your platform, they want to know the real you. And this is something huge that I have brought across all of my platforms and my campaigns. I've ran for my chapter president, my state president, and now the national Eastern Region VP. And so I have always been myself. And I think this is a huge thing when it comes to the success that I've had. So, something that I challenge you all to do is be yourself when you take that extra step and run for a leadership position. My next tip for all of you is to set your goals and be confident in them. Know what you want to do within your position and within the organization. Know what you're going to do for the members, how you're going to benefit them, and what you're going to do for the overall student leadership organization that you're in. My next tip for all of you is to compile a campaign team with whether this be your friends, your mentors, or people within the organization that are going to help you promote your campaign and promote yourself. Run meetings with them, make sure that all of them are on the same page when it comes to your campaign platform and what your vision is. And make sure that when it comes to those campaign days, they are ready to go. They are ready for success. And at the end of the day, thank them for all of the hard work that they put in to help your campaign. My next tip for all of you is to utilize social media. I think this is a huge platform that has come up in recent years that when it comes to campaigns and other things like that, we as a student leadership organizations across the world have really been utilizing when it comes to promoting yourself, promoting your goals, and things of that nature. So I think that is huge when it comes to any type of campaign that you are going to run. I have 2 tips left for all of you. My next tip is to form a memorable slogan. So I'm going to share a slogan that I used throughout a few of my campaigns, and it was check the right box, vote Fox, and then I added the leadership position there. Everyone, as soon as I was up on that stage in Rochester, New York, in front of 1,000 individuals, everyone just started, ooh, what's next from this individual? When can we hear more from him? Because it's something memorable. It's going to stick in their heads. And when they're at that voting booth filling in your name, they're going to remember you and say, I want this kid to, help our organization. So I think this is a huge part and within your campaign. And one final tip I have for all of you is be happy with your work. Be proud of the work that you put in and know that you took that step to go for a higher position and run for office to help your organization. I think this is huge when it comes to building self-esteem, when it comes to building up your public speaking and anything you want to do within the future. Because at the end of the day, as long as you put in 110% of effort and hard work and determination, whatever way the results go, you can say at the end of the day that you put in the work and you should be proud of yourself. So I really hope that you all take that extra step, run to be a leader within your particular student leadership organizations, and best of luck. I wish you all the best in the future, and thank you so much for listening.
Awesome, awesome. I loved all of it. That was amazing. Thank you, Andrew, for that. I definitely loved the being authentic. Went right out the gate and talked about being authentic. And I know that's sometimes that feels so hard to do, but I think you hit it right on the nose that we need to be authentic, especially not just as you're running for leadership, but even when you gain leadership and really the rest of our lives. I would hope that we could all be our authentic selves and be the best leaders that we can be. And then I love the other tips that you talked about, having the team and building that campaign team and everything you mentioned. I just posted, if that's okay, I kind of took a little story while you were, so even before this really goes live, I took a little story and posted it. But you have been an amazing guest. Is there any way that I could help you, Andrew?
No, I think you did an amazing job. Thank you so much for having me today. If you would like to just tag me in those posts that you make in the future with those two Instagram handles that I dropped, I would love to further promote the videos that you do and anything like that. But I think we could help each other when it comes to promoting each other within our particular organizations and platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've made an entire challenge, so I'll send you the information. But this has developed into a challenge with different groups, some from FBLA, FCCLA, FFA, things like all the other awesome groups that you all are part of. Some amazing leaders. So I'll connect you. And if you ever see that I'm already friends with somebody that you want to connect with, shoot me a message and say, "Hey, Jonathan, would you connect me?" I would love to help you like that. But of course, you don't have to wait for me. You could always just connect yourself. The power of social media. So all of you guys out there, go and send Andrew a message. Thank him and thank your advisors. This is the Student Leadership Success Show. It's the show for student leaders, but it's also driven by listening to other student leaders. So thank you so much, Andrew, for participating today, being a part of this. It's my belief that you student leaders are going to go and change the world, make it better. And it's all part of being your authentic self. So thank you so much, Andrew. Go and continue to lead the Eastern region and all of FBLA. And then good luck with all of your future endeavors. And hopefully you get to come back to Texas sometime soon. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Thank you, Andrew.
Yes, have a great evening. Bye.